flew to Oakland, California. And Oakland was
I could have waited 3 more minutes and it's been 11 o'clock.
Then I moved to Los Angeles, California. People are very, I don't want to say shallow, like
check, yo,
like materialistic.
I'm here. Another Friday night, FreeStyle Friday. Man, do I have a show for you tonight. Now, I thought I was going to be by myself, but the creator always finds a way to kind of surprise me. Before I get into the surprise, because some of y'all already probably read my little credits beforehand. Before I get into my surprise, one of them keep on disturbing me right now while I'm trying to do my shit. You know, now, alright, hold on. Before we get into this, I need to make sure the rules are clear for all my guests. This is my show. And the only rule that I have is you can't cuss more than me, motherfucker. You can let it out. You can do what you want. I want you to enjoy yourself. I want you to enjoy yourself, and I want you to let it flow, because we need to have some good, conscious conversation, but not so conscious that it's sterile. Alright.
That's a hard rule to follow.
But before we get into that, let me go and shout out those things I love. First off, I want to send some shouts out to Oxy Water, the world's first oxygen enhanced mineral water. You can try Oxy Water Black, Oxy Water Pink, Cherry Pomegranate, Island Citrus, Passion Berry, and you can go to www.tryoxywater.com if you want to try it. You know what I'm saying? You can look at it, you get it mailed to your house, or you go to one of the stores and get it, because it's popping up everywhere. I also want to send some shouts out to Orange 82. It's an electronic music label. They create what I like to call surfing music. It's music that you can put on when you're tired at night. It's like house music. Put it on when you're tired at night and you need to surf the internet. You put that shit on and you catch the wave, and you can just be going for hours before you realize what happened. You can get more music from them at www.orange82.com. The artist one of the artists that I really like is DJ Delford Chad. I know Chad Bourne. It's Delford Chad Bourne. So go and check him out. Right now, I'm grooving over the music of somebody by the name of James Watson. It's called What You Need. So now you see I'm doing something different. We got a little bit of music, but unfortunately my guests can't hear the music, so they're going to have to try to get on beat in their own accord. Also, I want to send out shouts to Unidaji Capoeira, run by Monitor Dentista, located in Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton, Toledo, Chicago, and Decatur, Massillon, Alabama. And Monitor Dentista is now stationed in Columbus, and he will be running classes out of the Millennium Community School. Good news for us. Good news and bad news, because he like to work motherfuckers out till they sore, and I'm old. I don't heal like I used to. And he like kicking brothers, especially old brothers like me. I like kicking back, but I want to kick him first, but you know, I'm out of practice. Alright, also want to send out shouts to New Harvest Urban Arts Complex. Also check out my website at www.giamijourney.com. I got some new stuff coming out, got some new books coming out, I got old books. Check it all out. Let me know what you think. Now, first must introduce my guest. One you have heard before. He worked with me for years in different shows, different formats. And I want to give a moment for Brother D, the traveler Brother D, to let y'all know a little bit about himself and you know, say some things he want to say.
So, greetings, Brother D, the traveler. It's good to be my brother Haas again. So we did a show called The Chosen a while back when we were talking about experiences and shit like that. But currently, you know, just continuing on as a nation builder on this warrior path, just like my brother. And we are looking to have a spirited and great conversation. Ladies are lovely tonight.
Yes, it's popping off.
But let me pass it on to my man, John Calhoun, the Drifter.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Motherfuckers forget it's my show. They stealing my thunder. Look, listen to that. Rule number 2. This is a show of emergence. We let shit emerge. That shit emerged. So now I need to push that shit down. I do the introductions on this motherfucker. I pay the bills. I do the introductions. Now coming to the stage is a brother that I've known for a long time. He's the type of brother that when he calls, if you don't have time to talk, don't pick up the phone. He's the philosopher and a scholar and one of my good friends. In all seriousness, we call him the Drifter because he has drifted from here to there, and we're going to talk a little bit about his journeys in our conversations, because it's going to come out. It's going to come out because he can give us a different flavor about the state of the Black Union from several different perspectives. I want to give the mic to Brother John, the Drifter, Calhoun.
What's up, y'all? Yes, it is the Drifter. Been around the world tonight, yeah, that's all I'm saying. Been a lot of places, seen a lot of black folk, different regions of the country. Got a lot to say, but you know, all that come out in the walk. Chilling up in the coffee house or the Seaside Lounge, which is a seaside hookah lounge as well as a coffee shop. Just like how we used to do. Shisha Lounge, 2369 North House Street. Go there. Go to Columbus, Ohio. Go there. Right there you go. But yeah, let me hand it over to the host for he does something to try to cut me off or something.
Alright, here we go again. Another rule has just emerged. I do the singing on the show. You just don't bust out a song on the GRME journey. Now I'm just like, y'all gonna have a good time, but hey, you know,
I thought it was a Freestyle Friday.
It is a Freestyle Friday. We're about to kick it off now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw the mic in the middle of the floor and see where we want to take the conversation. Or would y'all like me to pick the first subject?
Do it.
All right, cool. First off, I am pissed the fuck off that Juneteenth, a holiday celebrating the freedom of black folks that's been going on for 23 years in Columbus, had some knuckleheads come up once again and end the party by shooting out. Mind you, the motherfucker missed who he was shooting at and shot an 11-year-old boy in the leg. Now, black folks, as I put on my post on Facebook, we gotta do better. And I done spoke a little bit about this on my 3 miles on my show called on Mile 3. You know, and I'm gonna get a little bit into that right now, but you know, I'm gonna kick off the conversation like this. What is wrong with the black man when a 15-year-old boy can bust up our fucking celebrations, regardless of whether or not he has a gun or not? Where are the black men, other than jail? Because it was some of them. Anybody want to comment on that or take it in a different direction?
Well, let me say this, as recently within the last week, just having lived in New Orleans, Louisiana. During Mother's Day, we had a shootout at a parade where 19 people were shot. Now, that's only a little bit more disgusting than the fact that we had 5 people that got shot at the Martin Luther King Day Peace Parade. So I'm really just trying to understand. Because I think one of the years when I lived here, they had that shootout at the Juneteenth. So I'm really just trying to understand what's going on. Why do you feel, of all the places that you want to bust off your gun, at a Mother's Day parade, at a celebration for black people, at the Martin Luther King Peace Parade? What?
So I take a thought of one of my friends, Brother Jerome. He said that he would like to see him even go back to the days of the Western. At least in the Western, when somebody shines into a duel, everybody would part ways. And, I mean, there's plenty of duck-offs and alleyways for people to go in. If you want to shoot at each other, that's what can happen. But for me, just the lack of having those men from the community that have been engaged to even, be on post at these different events. So where are these organizers? What are they doing to reach out to the men in the community to be a part of it? Because for me, why not have brothers posted up at greeting people as they come in? Because how many festivals do you see people go to and nobody says anything? Something happens. So if we're talking about this Juneteenth, why not use that as an opportunity to educate people as well as see our men as a force? As my brother said before, maybe there are no men.
Now, years ago, I had a conversation with an old white man. He called me. He was in California. I can't remember where in California. But he brought up a point that's been festering in my heart for a while. And I probably mentioned this on the show before, but I'm going to mention it again. This old white man told me, he said, I seen the documentary that you had, and I'm sorry about some of the losses that you had, but I want you to know that you're not alone. And we started talking. And this old white man told me, he said, I need you to realize that being a man in America is illegal, regardless of what color you are, because there's only one man allowed in America, and his name is Uncle Sam. If you act as a man or take some of the responsibilities as a man, they're going to lock your ass up in jail. And I was like, wow. When he hit me with that, it kind of threw me off. But, I digress. But anyway, I don't see a problem with the kids. I don't have a problem with the kids. The kids going to do what they're going to do. They're going to experiment. They're going to do dangerous shit. They're going to do crazy things that kids do. I mean, that happens in all races. We've never really had a youth problem. And that's why a lot of people don't understand why I don't want to really, I work with youth, but I really want to work with the adults, because we don't have a youth problem, we have an adult problem. Because the kids are acting out the fantasies, the thoughts, the spoken words, and some of the actions of the adults that they see. If adults in the black community were together, there would be no way in hell that a kid would do that thing, would do something like that. And also, I also want to bring this up. What's up with the feminization of the black man? Because I've been listening to Fela a lot, and I be telling people this. Fela had it right when he brought out 2 songs. He brought out one song called Gentleman. He brought out another song called Lady. And he describes Gentleman basically as a weak-ass motherfucker who allows himself to be ran over. And he says, I'm not a gentleman. I am African man original. Original. I love Freddie. And then he talks about the lady, and this is what's interesting when he talks about lady. In his song Lady, if you really listen to the lyrics, whatever he describes a lady, because he goes, the lyrics go something like, if you call an African woman, she will say, I'll be lady, yo. whenever he describes the lady, he always used the term him to describe it. So we got in our community, what's going on with this masculinization of the feminine and this feminization of the man in America?
Wow, that's a really good question. I really think that, if you're talking about the chicken or the egg and which comes first, I really think that it starts with the fact that masculinity has become diluted within the black community. That a lot of people have gotten into a mode of just sheer survival. They just want to get a little house, they just want to get their little crumbs that they're allowed to have, and they don't want to cause too much trouble. But the fact of the matter is that we're living in a world which is becoming more and more complicated, more and more dangerous. And you see that, we're coming to this point where we're running out of crucial natural resources around the world, and conflict is, right there on the horizon. Well, at the same time, you got these brothers that kind of want to stay in the shadows. I mean, when I was younger, I remember seeing real black men out in the community. I would see them, it's like I go to park. I've been to parks like in different cities. It's like when I was in Houston, for example, you would go to these parks and you'll see the Latinos out there having barbecues, but you wouldn't see like a black family out there. Like every once in a while, you see a black family. It's like it became this thing where where if you actually saw a black man, a black woman, and a child together, we would make comments like, wow, you look like a nice family. Because that would be like exceptional somehow. Right. And it's like, that's really crazy. It's like a lot of brothers, they just started getting real soft. And then the sisters feel like they gotta that creates like this void, and the sisters feel like they gotta try to fill the void and become more aggressive. And I mean, which then in turn makes more men step back even more, which then in turn making the sisters want to fill that void even more. And it's like, I don't know how you even get out of that flow.
Well, I coined a new term. I call it bitchnificence. Seems like men are reflecting, and I say this, and I always stress that I'm not saying all. And in my analysis, I'm also talking about me as well. It's a bitchnificence that is flowing over the concept of black manhood. And it goes deeper than women, for me, women trying to fill a void. It's men for maybe the last 50 years, especially in our community, have been more and more marginalized. It's like we have no place in the society. And then in the black community, when you compound the fact that it's already hard enough for us to define our space, to find our space, to own our space, and to live our space as black men, a majority of the black men that's in this generation here and the generations that's following even more, a majority of them have been raised by women. You know what I'm saying? So we need to also make sure that we point the finger and talk and discuss about women, because even if the man is not there, you still need to maintain being a woman. And I know some people gonna be out there like, I tell you, he's a fucking sexist, but hey, that's cool. But I know in nature, everything has its place. You don't have the moon trying to be the motherfucking sun. You don't have the water trying to set wood on fire. You know what I'm saying? Everything has a place, everything has a job. Not one job is more important than the other, and we need both of those elements to rise up in our community, the masculine energy and the feminine energy.
See, that leads me to think about some of the debates that I heard about on Father's Day. I know that I had a few of my sister friends that they had individuals call them and say, tell them Happy Father's Day, and they say, no, I'm not a man. You see, that's basically what the father is saying, and why. And really, they were asking the question, why do you feel the need to to be able to take over Father's Day as well. We have a day called Mother's Day. Because mothers in this country are celebrated each and every day, for the most part. And those fathers that actually step up in that place of being a warrior, as my brother Naisha out in San Jose said, be a warrior instead of being a man, because since men are hurt and destroyed and all of these things, the warrior uplifts and respects elders and protects. Actually is able to live from their heart and be genuine with what they feel.
I guess, I think about the statements made by the great revolutionary Mr. Che Guevara. And he says, "Let me say something at the risk of sounding ridiculous. The true revolutionary is guided by the greatest feelings of love." His whole idea of revolution was not about anger. It was about love. It was about wanting to be able to see a healthy, happy family being able to survive and thrive and grow and blossom. Now, I say that, but when I think about what has happened in America, I think about Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, various activists from the 50s and 60s, Geronimo Pratt, whether it's Mumia Abu-Jamal from the 70s, where they were either put in prison or murdered. And I think that there is still very much a psychological residue of what has happened in the past. So I think a lot of brothers, there's a way that you can convince yourself, you can self-delude yourself into believing that you're actually really stepping up, even as you're stepping down. Because your mind does not want to think, as a man, you want to think that I'm becoming a bitch. You want to think, well, I'm starting to send songs as a man, even as you sit down when we need you to stand up. And I think we really have a big residue of how hard they came at brothers in the 60s and 70s, which still affects us, to this very day.
Mr. Calhoun's money is falling out of his pocket, so I had to take the mic because I'm broke as hell and I will rob him. I'm sorry, that's that bitch-nificence coming out of me. I'm sorry. That's an example of bitch-nificence, because a bitch-nificent motherfucker honestly believes that what others have, they're supposed to take. But now, we could talk about the black family, but the piece that I think that we're missing, because we talk it, but we don't really understand it. When we say community, when we say village, when I say tribe, those are the soil in which a healthy family could come up. Because if a family is not surrounded, because I heard you say earlier that we're living in a more complicated time, a more dangerous time, but when was it not dangerous for us? When wasn't it a disease that would snatch our ass up, or an animal that would kill us, or a crazy man running around, or a crazy tribe of men running around trying to do shit? It's always been dangerous. That's why it's important for men to start learning how to be men. And I ain't just talking about the aggressive shit, because we got a fucked up perception of manhood, and it's constantly being streamed at us and streamed at our kids, and they being fed this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people go into this conspiracy shit, but I'm not. I'm just gonna keep it all the way real. For myself personally, and y'all get mad at me, one or two things is happening in my community. Either my men and women, I ain't talking about the children, are totally stupid and can't see what the fuck is coming, or they honestly believe that the white man is God and they just done gave up. You know what I'm saying? And another thing that bothers me is this lack of faith, which is one of the key principles in a majority of our beliefs. We have faith, and belief. We have these things, but we don't act on it. Now, I've been confronted several different times with guns, and only once have I been shot. Motherfuckers only know about the once that I got shot, but they don't know about the other 3 times that I was able to stand a motherfucker down with a gun because I was standing on truth. Motherfuckers say they want truth. They say they believe in truth. They say they have faith in the truth. But when it really comes down to it, I think most motherfuckers are closet atheists. They don't believe in God and they don't believe in faith. They really don't. You know what I'm saying? And we run around this motherfucker acting like everything's okay. We're preparing our children for a future that don't exist. We're acting like we're not possibly running out of some of the resources. And we honestly think that these motherfuckers who set up the system are so smart that they thought 500 years in advance. I don't give them motherfuckers that credit because I tried to plan a birthday party 2 hours in advance. Let's say 2 weeks in advance and the shit fell apart. So I know how plans work. And I know that you can't plan some shit out no 500 years and it works perfectly. That's why they call black swans. That's why we got the concept of black swans. But go ahead.
One of the things that I think about is, I've had the opportunity to live as a black man, both in an almost completely Latino neighborhood, Mexican, and then in an almost completely Chinese neighborhood. I lived with a Chinese family in Lower Chinatown. And the thing that I saw when I was there was they had this thing called the G Foundation. This family was, their surname was G. And so they had the G Foundation. And over generations, they kept on having people that would invest money with the G Foundation.
Right.
They pooled their money and had this big investment group. And then they was able to give, this is just within a family. And then they were able to provide loans for businesses, which went back into the G Fund. They got people in the college, which when they got their good job, they would put, a little something back into the kitty, and they kept the kitty growing, yet everybody was able to feed off the kitty to advance their lives. Now I say that because they have something that I think that we don't really understand anymore. I think that we've lost, which is a deep sense of honor. And I think honor comes from having what you call a faith, but I think having a faith in your people. Because people knew that if they put money in that G Fund, they knew that they could trust that money was going to be invested properly. They knew that 100 years from now, if America was still busting up to be here, that G Fund would be there, and that kids that they never would even know exist were going to be able to dip into that fund. And I look at that and I'm like, it blew my mind. It blew my mind.
Now, for me, that goes beyond just family, because what you're talking about is a group of families, which is basically a tribe that operate up under the same surname. And from that tribe, different small aspects of the families, because we need to really break it down. This whole nuclear family bullshit in America is some bullshit. And in the black community, it stopped being a nuclear family maybe 20 years ago. You know what it is now? It's a quantum family. And you got quirks in the motherfucking family that's blinking in and out. The shit is on some whole other shit. It's smaller than something nuclear. It's quantum. It's so small that it is totally powerless. And until we start combining groups of us, because this is another misconception about our community that we have to kind of get through. First off, we gotta get through the misconception of community, because there is none. Motherfuckers be mad at me, I don't give a fuck. There is no community. Second off, because we got to build it. Second off, we under the misconception that an individual and a couple can actually maneuver through this bullshit called America, this bullshit system. Now, I like America, I'm in America, I wouldn't be in any other country, but this system, this bullshit, we honestly think that we can make it through as just two. When in fact, when we look at the families that people are saying doing conspiracies, let's be clear about it. It's not a family, it's tribes. The Rockefellers is a tribe, and they don't know everything that's going on, but they know that they can have faith in that name Rockefeller and be able to go and pull some motherfucking money down. Where's ours at? We used to have proud family names. We used to be willing to die for our name. Before we dishonored our name, we was willing to put our lives on the line. Now, because we act like this, our children act like they don't give a fuck about the name, they don't give a fuck about nobody, they don't give a fuck about what the community or their family, whether we talking nuclear or quantum family, looks like. So now we got, how do we start putting that back in? And this is the last point that I wanted to bring out, because a long time ago they talked about what needed to happen in order for people to be enslaved. They had to destroy the culture, they had to destroy the language, the religion, and the culture. Now within the culture is the systems that build up the man, that build up the woman, because we are under the misconception that you grow into being a man, you grow into being a woman physically, and that's it. In our traditional cultures, we knew that manhood and womanhood were nothing that you physically grow into. It's something that you was prepared for, and once you was at the proper age, you were trained to be. You don't just turn into no motherfucking man. The people around you turn you into a man. You don't just turn into a woman. The people around you turn you into a woman. And if you're not meeting the standards, they ask you to leave.
It makes me think back to this conversation that I had with some young people a couple weeks ago. We were having this lock-in at COSI called The Bed. And the particular workshop that I was doing was called GPS to Success. And talking to them about the fact that you need those individuals who have already experienced those things in life that are necessary, or they've already seen the layout of the land and the things that you will go through or need to avoid in order to make it as this grown person who's navigating this world. So without having those systems in place, that's the thing too. We got to make that programs can't break down the system. Systems break down the system. We have to create our own system of things that bring those ideas back and be able to operate with them in order to have an effective change in anything that we try to back right now.
I think though that one of the biggest problems, I think about when I was, going to school at Ohio State, and I remember that there was this big argument in African history as to when African people first started smelting iron. And I didn't understand the big deal about it, but from what I was understanding was that we had started smelting iron 1,000 years before they actually gave us credit for smelting iron. And the thing that I had a problem with was I didn't understand why we had to use a metric defined by white people to say that we're worthy. Because guess what? If I decided I want to stay butt naked in the woods and keep my family butt naked in the woods for all eternity, that doesn't mean I'm still not a genius. In fact, I might be demonstrating my genius by saying, no, I'm never participating in your modern culture because you lost something. Because have you read about what the Bushmen, their physical capabilities? They can hear planes from like hundreds of miles away. They can call a plane is coming. It's like their senses and their attunement with the natural environment is like 50 times ours.
Just like when the tsunami came a few years back in Thailand, it said the people that were indigenous to the land, they were gone days before the thing even came ashore.
And you're absolutely right about that. And when I look at that, I think to myself, how do you have faith? It seems to me that you have to have a sense that your mind is a mind that created the pyramids. You have to have a sense that your mind was a mind that had the deep structured cosmology of the Dogon people who understood the structures of the universe that cosmological physics would only understand 50 years later when they had the right technology. And these are supposed to be bush people, but they know They have theories on how the universe was formed that turned out to be proven true by science. Speak on that.
Now, I'm going to say this. Maybe we might need to take a little bit deeper. Maybe we need to go beyond the pyramids. Maybe we need to go beyond what the Dogon people had. Maybe we need to start realizing that it's a possibility that from our minds, the whole universe is playing. You know what I'm saying? Because in some sciences, they're showing that creation could not happen without consciousness. And due to the law of energy, what is it called? The law of
conservation?
The law of conservation of energy. Energy can't be created or destroyed. And the part of us that really operates this system in our head is energy. So that means that shit's been around here since the beginning. So we might need to go even deeper than that and start really looking for the true source of power. It's deeper than building a motherfucking pyramid, because the pyramid is technology. I want to go back to what you was talking about with some of the shaman and some of the bushmen and some of the people that we would consider nowadays as backwards, and the peace that they live with, and the lack of disease that they live with, and the health that they live with, and the ages that they live to, living in supposedly dangerous situations, being able to know when danger is coming. They did a experiment with trackers, I think during the Vietnam War, where they went to Native American reservations looking for Native American trackers, and they found the best ones they could. But when they took them out to the field, after they took them through the military training and cut their hair, they found that the trackers, after they cut their hair, was confused and couldn't do shit. And then they started looking into this, and they did other experiments with other individuals. And they brought some more in, and they did an experiment. They cut some of the trackers' hair, they let the other trackers' hair grow. The motherfuckers who had the long hair was able to feel when motherfuckers were sneaking up on them, even in their sleep. They knew when their attack was imminent, and they would be up and out before everybody else. So there's a deeper connection with the human being, not just the African, but with the human being to the universe. And I don't even think we're taking into that we're even looking at. That's why I'm saying we really, actually, I'm going to say we're not faithless. I'm going to say we're not godless. I'm going to go back on my statement that I made earlier. I think we're worshiping the wrong God. A lot of people might think, oh, he's coming down on Christianity, he's coming down on Islam. No. When it really comes down to it, the thing that you fear and you put the most effort to is what you worship and what you believe in. So I honestly think that the God of the day is the economic system, and you have faith in that motherfucking dollar, rather than having faith in the things that have been around long before the dollar, rather than having faith and belief in something that was around long before an economic system that was created by men.
Well, I mean, let's look at, there was a scholar I talked to years ago, because she wrote a book on the consciousness of women. And I just ended up hitting her up. Her name was Jean Shinola Boland. And she was an Asian woman, but she was in the Bay Area and kind of...
What is the last name, like Bolton?
Boland.
Boland? That ain't Asian?
Shinoda is her real last name.
Oh, okay.
But her married name was Boland. But here was the thing.
Black dude.
White boy. But here was the thing. The thing that I asked her, because I was thinking about a lot of our sisters and where their head was at, and I said, is it one of the hallmarks of real femininity, intuition, a deep spirit of intuition, to have some sense of truth that comes from a body wisdom, that comes from an energetic clarity? Now, we had to talk about it, but she said that it wasn't just something, it was something that was very strong in women, but she said that it was something that should be also relatively strong in men. And I say this because I think that if you want to start going to the energetics of everything, it's like I got into doing Kundalini yoga and other forms of body work, over the last several years. And I found that when I was doing those body works, that I was a lot more present in my body. And the relevance of this was, whether or not I was being creative or dealing with different people, that when I was not just in my head, but when I was truly inhabiting an awareness of my whole body, different areas of my body would give me a sense that something was either on or off. I mean, it could be whether or not I was trying to write, a story. It could be whether or not I was interacting with a person. But I'm saying this because I think a lot of us, and this goes like beyond race now, it's like a lot of modern culture of people that are in their heads. It's like, so they don't know how to feel. Like, you have all these neurological cells in your belly. That's why they call it a gut feeling. Because there's actual neurons in your belly. But it's like, I would argue right now that a lot of people, if they meet somebody that's being deceptive, it's like they've learned how to shut off, those early warning signals that you're talking about, like these native brothers had. It's like, I think we've learned how to shut off like all this antenna information that we normally, was as our natural human heritage.
I think that in a sense is being programmed off. I think that the software that our hardware, our body, and software being the mentality or the culture that we have been introduced to, automatically shuts that shit down. Because it's beneficial to capitalism. It's beneficial to the system in the way that it's running now worldwide for individuals to be out of tune with themselves. Be out of tune with themselves. And when you're out of tune with yourselves, you're out of tune with everybody else. So now, you just basically a meat suit, so I can kill you. You know what I'm saying? For some people that take it to the extreme. You just a meat suit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not connected to you. I don't feel you. You ain't my daddy. You ain't my mama. So I can go to a festival and I can blast the motherfucker. Y'all see how I brought that shit all the way back to Juneteenth. That shit was hot. You know what I'm saying? Brought that shit. We went all the way out in outer space. We brought that shit because everything connects. And that's one of the things that we be missing out on, man. I'm like, we don't allow this wisdom to rise up. We want to stop it. That's why I started my show, and I'm trying to get people to come out so that they can start talking. Even if you cuss, just don't cuss more than me. Let that shit out, because we never know what wisdom is going to come and flow from you. We only got a couple more minutes, so I'm going to let the brothers each do a closing statement. Then I'm going to close this show out with some music from Orange 82. And so which one of y'all want to go first?
Closing statement. I don't know. I think that I spent a lot of time over the last 10 years living all these different places and just experiencing black folk in all these different places. And, I saw a lot of things that I was critical of. But even having said that, there was always a sense of a spirit in the air that we were coming upon this time, that a lot of people, I think, are starting to realize that what we're doing collectively isn't working. And although I don't know that necessarily everybody's had ideas about what to do about that, I think that there is kind of a certain collective intuitiveness that's been evolving, where people are realizing that we're going to have to do something different than what we're doing if we're going to maintain. And that's something I've heard black folk in every region of the country that I've lived in over the last 10 years say. So I believe that there's definitely an energy to build with and to evolve with if we want to take that challenge. So holla, holla, peace, peace.
My closing thoughts and statements would be that we really need to seriously study and look at our community and really find out what values these adults are clinging to, so that we can somehow affect them with the frame and message that we're trying to send to them, so that they can effectively empower our children to be able to become that change. We lead them into that training, into that manhood and that womanhood that we're talking about, that we're actually protecting and building up our community versus having this scattered and ruined land that we're in right now.
This is Brother Hatim, and I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I want to send shouts out to the traveler Brother D. I want to send shouts out to Brother John, the Drifter Calhoun. I want to send some shouts out to Brother Quasi, even though he couldn't be here tonight. But, you know, hopefully this is the beginning of something. And those that want to be on the show, you know, I'll be at the hookah shop on most Friday nights. I haven't been here the last couple, so, you know, forgive me. But check out the show. If you like it, share it with a friend. If you have something you don't like, good. Let everybody know you don't like it. Cuss me out. I don't give a damn. Please ban my book. Ban my show. You know what I'm saying? You don't like the language? Good. Don't tweet about how dirty my mouth is. You think I hate you? Go ahead. Just dog me. Just dog me on the internet, please. You know what I'm saying? Because I see that's what we need.
Can I add one more thing? I just wanted to add it. I can't remember the author off the top of my head right now. The quote says don't be afraid of opposition. Remember that the kite rises against and not with the wind.
I think we trying to go with the wind, but this brother Tim, you know what I'm saying? We trying to go with the wind. Fuck the wind. We need to move against it so that we can move, because without conflict, there's no change. That's the true definition of a warrior. The true definition of a warrior is one who is experienced and involved in conflict. Get involved.